What is up? What is up? All right, welcome to a very special episode of the Toddcast. Big news going to be dropped in this episode, and I'm going to break it down, and I'm going to give you some exciting details. Look, my book has been released. What is the book? Accelerating. Yes, it is how to create effortless buying experiences. And I'm going to get into the book. And I'm going to talk about it and tell you about the success. If you see what's on the front of the book, you know what I'm going to tease in just a second. More information coming up on the book release and the incredible response from people just like you all over the world. More on that in just a second.
This podcast is brought to you by the WireBuzz team. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's because I've spent the past decade growing WireBuzz into a digital marketing powerhouse designed to maximize clarity in complex sales processes so we can help accelerate revenue. And we do this in 3 phases. Phase 1, we transform your website to function like your best salesperson and then also incorporate persuasive on-demand sales videos. Now your entire team is aligned on messaging and they're injecting massive clarity into your prospect's head. So your site looks great, but it also has engaging content that helps your team sell on demand 24/7. The next phase, phase 2, we train your sales and marketing teams to sell remotely or in person to expand the impact of your sales team. And the third phase is we develop and run targeted ads to your prospects. Scale those ads to help you achieve more business results. Sign up for the WireBuzz company newsletter to learn more about effective and simple ways to improve your company messaging, attract more digital attention, and ultimately make more sales.
Boom. Love it. I mean, that's the truth. It's 3 steps. First, your website. Second, your sales team. Third, generating more leads. And when each of them get leveled up, business goes bananas. Speaking of bananas, my book, Accelerating, yes, is out. Tony Robbins says on the top, he says, Todd's training is so valuable. My businesses and clients are executing his strategies with extraordinary results. And what I love is I just want to create extraordinary results for you and your business so you can impact more people and help them solve their problems. But how has the book done? Well, let's talk about that in this episode. First, let me read the back to you, okay? The back of the book dropped into my head, word for word, one late night when I should have been in bed. It says, what is the most powerful word in business? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? I'll give you a hint. It's the word that comes out of somebody's mouth the moment they transition from a prospect into a client. That word? Yes. It's the best word in business. And my strategies work for all types of selling. This book is for you if you're a marketer or a salesperson who wants to up your game. If your company is remote and you can't get physical access in front of your prospects. And this book is also for you if you practice traditional face-to-face selling and just aren't satisfied with the number of yeses that you get in your life. What you're about to learn is going to change the way you sell and accelerate your results. Every purchase decision requires some type of deliberation from the buyer. My system has been proven to speed up the prospect's decision-making process using my 5 zones of influence. That's why I call this book Accelerating Yes. And really all we're trying to do is accelerate yes so people buy from you más rápido. And when they do that, booyah, you can make it rain at Lululemon on a Tuesday when you should be at work, but you're making so much money, you're out spending the money because life is getting really, really good. Now, how good has the book been received by the international community? Look at that on the top. Oh, right over there. It is the #1 bestseller in marketing and sales. And it hit that right away because of people like you all over the world that are just have a desire in their heart to accelerate yes in their business. But not only do we hit #1 in 2 categories, marketing and sales, as the bestseller on Amazon, but on the Wall Street Journal list, Accelerating Yes hit the number 2 bestseller for nonfiction for the week. And that is flat out unbelievable to me. I spent 4 years working on this book. I know 4 years because I looked at the email when I first reached out to the editor and we had our first conversation. 4 years. And in doing so, my ideas developed and I had to table the book because of, I just got started with Tony Robbins and training each of his businesses. And in doing so, developed amazing case studies inside the book. There are Tony Robbins case studies and what I did with his business and how the revenue went through the roof and what got Tony to have such a big breakthrough that he had to push me out and be like, brother, I got to get you on the stage. You've got to teach this to my clients because they have to have that transformation. And since I started teaching it for Tony's companies, people throughout the week reach out to me with stories of transformation about how their business went next level when it comes to sales, like Kathy, who doubled her business in 45 days after going through my training, or Kim, also known as Kick-Ass Kim in my mind. Kick-Ass Kim closed a 6-figure deal within 24 hours of going through my training, or Glenda in Singapore, who told me this when I was doing a training on Zoom for people all over the world. Before the training started, she came up at the camera and waved her hand, asked if she could say something to the group. And this is the first time I met Glenda. She said, I followed Todd's strategies and I learned how to handle a ghosting client. Somebody that I was about to close a deal, once I got into proposal stage, they started ghosting me. So I used Todd's ghosting strategy with a video and the guy replied back. And guess what? Glenda closed an 8-figure deal. Let me do the math. That's north of $10 million. And there are stories throughout the book of people who are crushing their friggin' revenue by accelerating yes and transforming their life using the power of video situationally inside of their sales process. And it's time that you start taking your sales process to the next level so you could celebrate faster. Look, there are 3 things that your prospect needs to do. Oh, I love doing an episode without a guest. This is like Todd doing a talk show, like back in the day when I used to flex my talk show host voice. Hi, and thank you for joining us right here, News Talk 550 KFYI, like when I used to get to do that. This is the kind of vibe that I've got with you right now, and I'm so excited to get to do this. There are 3 things that every prospect needs. It is a psychological need. And if you understand these 3 psychological needs, you could convince and convert them at faster rates. So what are the 3 psychological needs? The first thing they need is clarity. And clarity actually comes in 2 different ways. So let me unpack it. They need clarity on their solution. So you have to help define their solution for them because you'll never be able to present you never hit the bullseye with what you're selling if you can't define their problem. The second thing, after you define their problem, is you have to be able to with clarity, give them the solution. Okay, that's the 2 prongs for clarity. Because remember, if you confuse, you lose. And we're not about losing, we're about winning. And not only about winning, we're about winning on a much larger level than ever before. That's the first psychological need that every buyer has. The second psychological need that every buyer has is, in one way or another, up inside their brain, they need to experience certainty. Let me unpack certainty for you. They need to be certain that you can deliver. They need to be certain that this isn't your first rodeo, meaning you've done this for other people just like them successfully. That's why the first question people ask is, yeah, that's great, but have you ever done anything like this for me or anybody like me? Because I don't want to be your first guinea pig, right? You ever done anything like this for somebody in my industry? Because we all think that our industry is like a rare snowflake, okay? That's the second psychological need, is certainty. And the third psychological need is, write this down, collaboration. They need to have the ability to make a collaborative decision because whenever you go to make a purchase decision, consult with other people. When you're doing a purchase decision for something that's an important decision, you talk with a spouse or a business partner or a coach or a parent, and you evaluate it. Maybe even a colleague or a mentor, or maybe if your company has staff, you consult with members of the team. I've heard that companies that have over 100 employees, there's 7 people involved in the path to yes. Smaller companies have a minimum of 2, maybe 3 people in the path to yes. And the best salespeople in the world, the ones that make it rain, are the ones that own the path to yes. Meaning they own even the parts when they're not in front of their prospect, because they know where they lose the deal is when they're not with the client. Like their prospect facing skills are super strong. The prospect facing skills are on Zoom or in person. It doesn't matter. But what happens before the meeting, and how can you use video to get more meetings? Okay. I teach that. Second part is what happens after the first meeting. What typically happens there? People get confused. So how do you use video situationally to be able to impact them so you can remove the confusion and inject clarity? There are strategies for doing that with video. And then when you get to like a proposal stage, or you present what this is going to cost, what happens next, then they start having a lack of certainty that you can actually deliver on what you promised. They start wondering, well, this is great, but have you ever done anything like this for somebody just like me? Right? You master using video to show them a case study or a demonstration. And when you do that, or maybe even a testimonial, people have, the light bulb goes off and they're like, oh yeah, that's my team. They're the ones. This isn't their first rodeo. And then at the final stage, when they need to collaborate with others, you create a video for the whole review committee, which gives them all what they need, clarity and certainty. And when you do that, people buy from you like never before. Like these are the strategies that are inside of my book and inside of the 5 zones of influence that I break down on how to use video. Let me give you the 5 zones real quick. By the way, if you don't buy this book, that's on you, right? Because this is how the people that went through this training last year alone, they closed over $6 billion in revenue. People that went through my training, right? So if you're just following me on the podcast and loving the interviews, great, but I want to have a greater impact. I want to make the cash flow inside your business like never before, okay? So let me give you the 5 zones that the book covers. Zone number 1 is how to get discovered, how to use video to get discovered. Where does discovery happen? Well, discovery, you can be found on social media, via emails, with a webinar, running ads. I think that's it, okay? And then, a variety of other things, but those are the dominant ones. And I'll teach you how to master that, right? So once you've got the leads, what's next? Zone 2 comes next because it's always after 1. So what you do is when somebody finds you on social, you drive them to your website. So I teach you how to develop your website and create the journey that every buyer needs to go on, where you give them the 3 things. What are they? Well, you already know. Clarity, certainty, and collaboration. Okay. So on that, I teach you step by step how to create a journey page, how to even do a video sales letter, and organize what people need to know that are looking to evaluate your business. And I teach you the different types of videos and the format for what text copy should be written on that page through my 5-step Wirebuzz Momentum Method developed by the Wirebuzz team that we use on our Fortune 500 clients on their websites. And it works beautifully on aggressive startups and solopreneur websites. And all of that is in Zone 2. I also teach you how to get super friggin' creepy. That's right. Like you weren't already. teach you how to get super friggin' creepy and spy on your prospects. So you know, of all the leads that you're interacting with, ¿quién es más macho? Like, who are the leads that are giving you the most attention span? Because if somebody's crushing your videos, they're a buyer, right? So in this world of in-person and remote selling, because now this is a blend of the two, and we will be for the rest of your career, if you can determine who's got, it's like body language. Salespeople used to use body language. They used to be able to tell that their prospects' arms were folded. They were moved away from them. They weren't looking at them as an indicator that this person isn't buying. Well, how do you do that in a remote world? Or maybe you're on Zoom like 300 million people a day, or maybe you just met with a prospect, and you left. And now you want to determine if they're interested in you. Well, you allow the video to notify you on which of your prospects are going through your videos past the magic number of length, which will tell you that they're interested in you. And once you know, this is like digital body language. It's the new way that salespeople will monitor who are their most important leads. When you've got that, now you could go from like being a speaker on a stage and having 1,000 people in the audience and know who are the 100 people that are ready to buy right now. And it works for every industry. So if you just said to yourself, that's great, dude, but I'm not a speaker, you should be looking at what I'm telling you about as a blueprint. Lift it up into your industry. Because if you're selling medical devices, who's watching your videos past the magic percentage that Todd says in the book is the indicator of a buyer? Or if you're a realtor, who goes past the magic percentage? Or if you're in construction, which one of your leads is actually reviewing you with the level of attention span that a buyer would? Okay, that's in zone 2. Zone 3, sales strategies. These are the day-to-day sales strategies of a salesperson using video to convince and convert at faster rates. Zone 4 is how to use video for your existing clients. Your low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit, they're the ones that are going to buy from you faster than anybody. They're people that already know, love, and trust you. And a 5% increase in retaining existing clients can have a 75% increase in your profitability. So like I'm teaching you where all of the optimization points are in your business. And then zone 5, this is how you train your staff to think, act, speak, and represent you and your product, service, or solution in the best light forward. Zone 5 is all about training and how to use video to train your team. All of that is broken down inside of, and now it makes sense, the #1 best-selling book, Accelerating Yes, written by a very handsome dude on the cover. And where can you get this book? Pretty much anywhere, like Amazon. Go to Amazon, type into the search Todd Hartley or Accelerating Yes. Booyah! They'll send it to you for free. Free shipping. Make the purchase, get the book, learn the strategies that are helping businesses close $6 billion in sales each year. And I can't wait to have a huge impact on your career. Now, let me tell you what's coming up in a future episode. Coming up in a future episode right here on the Toddcast, there are a bunch of Todd trainings, on-demand courses that I'm just about to roll out to you. Let me give you an example. Tony Robbins reached out to me, asked me if I'd do a training for his clients. What was the training? He said, brother, you've got a freakish ability to retain my audience's attention. Let me give you an idea. There are like thousands of people when I do these trainings for Tony, like thousands of people. But they came back and said 93.6% of the audience stayed for the full hour. Your audience retention is whack. can you teach our audience how to command their prospects' attention on Zoom and move them into the solution and the call to action? So I do that training for him, and I'm also going to make it available to each of you that would like to get it. I'm going to teach you how to overcome common sales objections like a friggin' boss. You're going to also have another course that I've already created on how to ice break cold prospects on LinkedIn, which you can target these people beautifully. I'll show you how to get comfortable on camera so you could rock your mojo and use video situationally to convince and convert. I've also am going to teach people in another course how to use video to make a powerful connection with anyone through the lens that can help you do anything in your life. I've got great stories of people that rekindled a relationship with their mom, said goodbye to a loved one. These are different people. Somebody who supported a fiance while their sister-in-law was dying and used video to be there. Somebody else, meaning me, that used video with my wife to send it to the seller of the home we eventually purchased, and we won that house in a bidding war. There's a family that used my how to make a powerful connection with anyone strategy using video to move up the list when they brought their kids to go see a litter of dogs. And when they went to put their money down, they found out they were in 15th place, and the dog they loved was only available for 3rd place on the list. So don't tell anybody. This is a secret. They used my strategies to create a video for the breeder, and the breeder secretly moved them up the list from 15th place to number 3. And what happened? They got the puppy that they always wanted, and the family regularly sends me photos. Another training, the Sales Accelerator. For any of you business leaders or salespeople, I'm going to show you how to maximize revenue generation by mastering the 3 psychological needs that I told you about earlier. I'm going to show you how to master those 3 psychological needs in video. And I'll teach you a video sales letter and identifying where salespeople use video inside of their own very specific sales process. Like, I think that's part of my responsibility. I think I'm supposed to teach you how to use video inside of your sales process, because anybody could come in and tinker and break your sales process, but you still have bills to pay and staff to cover, and you've got your own sushi money that you need to collect. And the worst thing that a sales trainer can do is disconnect you from your sales process and help destroy your revenue flow. I'm going to show you how to use video situationally inside of it so you can convince and convert faster. And then the mother of all Todd trainings is my Selling Faster Using Video. It is a done together training, meaning I teach you in 8 or 9 training modules all of my strategies for salespeople, including how to handle somebody ghosting you, or how to submit a proposal video, how to use a teleprompter, how to make a human-to-human connection, how to use video when your prospect is confused, like a whole big variety, okay? It's like 9 hours worth of Todd training. And at the end of each module, you'll get private one-on-one coaching with a member of my team. You'll submit the practice video to them like you would to a prospect. I'll teach you how to send an email or text message your videos, and my team will be on the receiving end like they're a prospect, except you will book a Zoom meeting with them. They'll jump on that Zoom meeting and they'll coach you. They'll coach you to make that video even better. We'll talk about that in a future episode, but I wanted to update you and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for making Accelerating Yes the #1 bestseller for 2 categories, and the only 2 categories that I care about: marketing and sales. Thanks for putting me and Accelerating Yes on the top of the list.
Yo, that was a powerful episode. And from what we just learned, it should be obvious how you can now implement these lessons in your life to get to the next level. Now, before you bounce, I just have 3 quick thoughts. First, thank you for taking me on your incredible life journey. Second, if you receive some value from me and you want to pay it forward, it would mean the world to me if you left an honest rating and review at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. I'd be incredibly grateful. And lastly, if you share this episode, whether it be a screenshot or a photo from where you're listening, anything via Instagram stories or LinkedIn, Facebook, or any of the social media sites, just tag me and the guest. I'll repost your content and I'll reply back in the comments because I love mixing it up. In fact, I'd love to share your shout outs in my feed too. Not only are these shout outs really good for you and for me, but they also help us book more amazing guests because they'll be able to see the reach that you're helping to cultivate. This is a way for you to help contribute to the show. So thank you again for listening, and I look forward to earning a regular spot inside that ear of yours. Let's grow.